he was a coal miner, and so when he was in the mine, he would literally put dip between his toes, like because it's nicotine. It's an addiction. You know, if you don't have nicotine, you get jittery and irritable, and like so you got to get it somehow, right, Joe?
Yep.
You could probably
No, I
put
agree.
it in your asshole even if you wanted to and absorb it that
Nah.
way.
I mean, I
Well-
smoked.
All right. Welcome to episode 238 of the LinuxLUGcast. We're an open podcast /lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone listening to join us and participate on the podcast. Check out LinuxLUGcast.com for the server details. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to discuss and are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. You can check out our Lemmy page, our Matrix page. We have a YouTube channel and a Peertube channel. I'm your host for this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight is Eric.
Hello.
Fatboy.
Good evening.
Joe.
Yep, I'm here.
Lovecraft.
Good evening, Arwen.
Minnix.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
And he's muted, but Netminer is here.
Heard him earlier.
Yeah, he's here. He's muted. He's doing something else, probably watching YouTube or something.
Yep, I'm here. I've been listening. Just didn't want to get any copyrights strikeable material for Minnix or other people.
Happened before. Actually, it happened the last show I posted.
What did we do last time?
We didn't do anything. It was me. I posted, or because Scotty didn't have an avatar or anything.
Yeah.
And he mentioned he's into anime and stuff. So I used a little clip of Astro Boy. Remember the old black and white cartoon? Sure. And it was like a 20-second repeating clip for his little panel, and it got flagged as being copyrighted material, but it didn't. They didn't give us a strike for it. They just.
Oh, they didn't take it down.
No, they just took. I don't know what they did. They noted it. I got a message saying it's copyrighted material. So that's all.
What did you? I saw you switched it. What did you switch it to? Just it was another loop of some random videos.
No, it was still that. It was the Astro Boy.
It was still Astro Boy?
Yeah.
Now you make me look at it.
There was a part where I think I didn't connect it right or something, and it had a space in between it. But also we got some. Should we get into the viewer feedback real quick? Since
we had viewer feedback.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sign in here. And somehow I turned on two-factor authentication on the YouTube account. And I don't know how that happened. I don't remember doing that. And I don't know how to turn it off. So like I have to go to every time I log into the YouTube, I have to do something on my phone. I'll have to look in the settings or something.
They might have turned it on for you.
Maybe they did, because I don't remember doing that. Let's see. One of the I think it's on both of the same videos. Let's see. Because I did the same thing this time where I kind of split it up into clips.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Episode 237, the full episode, got 108 views.
Yeah.
Damn.
You know, I've been kind of pushing it on Lemmy too. So okay, so now I gotta.
Oh, you're right. It still is Astro Boy.
Gotta enter in the code.
Yeah, the full version too got 108 views. Now, can you check to see whether somebody watched the full video or just a few seconds of it?
Yeah, it'll show you in the metrics and stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so let me look at the. I think if I go to channel. show me. Yeah, the full episode got over 100. Oh, okay, here it is. Where's the... They always give you all this stuff that nobody cares about, but they don't show you an easy way to go to your notifications.
Wait a second. The other day it wasn't like this, but the Artifice Girl review got 413 views.
Yeah.
When did that happen? I'm pretty sure like the other day I looked at it and it wasn't that big.
It's been gradually climbing up, and I think YouTube.
That got 2 comments too.
Yeah, I was going to read those. I messed up for some reason. It's just got that little short clip of what we use for Netminer in there instead of all of us talking. I don't know how that happened. It got cropped to just that, and people saw that. Like one comment says, "What is with the weird, creepy video?" Because it's just showing. Remember, I made that video clip from that Stable Diffusion deal.
Yeah.
But the other comment, this is on the Artifice Girl review, where we talked about about people about using AI to catch child predators and stuff like that, and this one guy said, "Yes, seriously, I could see this becoming a thing, if not already, sooner or later. What was the Chris Hansen group like? The creep catchers that impersonated teens. They'll master a real child's voice. Somebody will run these AI scripts around. I suppose it's a good thing if it works, but maybe bad if it can't exactly catch them. Or I suppose bait is the word, by all the picky legal requirements needed. Interesting anyway," is this comment, which is, I don't really know what he's means, but those are, and there's some other comments too, I thought, but I can't, there's not a way where I can just go to notifications. But anyway, so people are watching on YouTube at least, and on Peertube too. Let's see. We've got, let me see how many views we got on Peertube, which I was surprised. I think a lot of people on Lemmy watch on Peertube just because it's, what would you say, kind of more of that kind of crowd that are into open source and stuff like that. And,
probably.
Let's see. What's it called? Bitwarden here. Dead air here.
Huh?
Okay, there we go. All right.
Truncate silence will take care of that.
Yeah. Now I'll save it. So, stuff I posted from the last show, which is weird. All the views came from the show before last, 236. So like the main show got 51 views, and some of the clips, like when we were talking about privacy versus convenience, got 34 views, and those are the 2 biggest ones. But like the last week's show only got 1 view on Peertube. It's weird. It's very, I think something catches on and people will share it, and that's how it gets viewed, But otherwise, I don't know. But the YouTube, I think the algorithm is starting to push us because we're putting out a lot more videos and clips and stuff, and so we're probably appearing on people's feed, is how that's happening. Which is fine, as long as it draws listeners to the show, that's the main deal.
Sure.
Hopefully they'll jump on.
Yeah.
Like Fatboy did. How'd you hear about us, Fatboy? You said you've been a long-time listener, right?
Yeah, I just subscribed on probably just did a search on the podcast app there, and yeah, just carried on, just listened to them.
Cool. I'm glad. Anyway, that's the feedback I could find. I wish people would email more. I thought about using a Google Voice number where people could call in, but I figure if they don't even email, they're definitely not going to call. So. Anyway, so I was going to mention about the Atomic Pi. The whole reason that I want it, see, it comes with the camera that plugs into the main board itself. It's for anybody who doesn't know, the Atomic Pi is a single board computer, but it's an x86. I believe it's an Intel Atom chip, but it's quad core, 64-bit. And from what I understand, they were originally built to go into some kind of robot or something that never actually made it out of production. But they had all these single board computers still that meant were supposed to go into there. And they got these huge heat sinks on them, which I think was put on there because it was supposed to be in an enclosed space, like the robot housing or something. But so they started selling them like super cheap. I can't remember how much they were, if they even still sell them anymore, like $35 or something like that. But it has an eMMC memory module on it, 2 gigs of RAM, an x86 processor, and comes with a camera and a high quality camera, and also a really sophisticated audio processing chip on it too, which you could use. But I've been trying to get this stupid camera to work because I wanted to have another viewer on Jitsi that I could film Buster's litter box so that people could see the robot litter box. And I cannot get it to work. I've looked everywhere, and I found on GitHub apparently that you can download a patched kernel version of Ubuntu to use with the Atomic Pi. So I tried that, installed that on the Atomic Pi. Still, it doesn't see the camera. There's nothing in dev as far as a video interface. LS USB doesn't show the camera. There's no way to load a module for it or anything. So I downloaded there's a kernel patch on GitHub that Digital Loggers put out. Digital Loggers is who sold the board too. I actually built the kernel and with the patch and tried that, and still the camera doesn't show up within
I assume
the
it's
OS.
not a USB camera.
No, it's a. I'll grab it real quick.
It has its own ribbon connector. So
yeah, so I can show it to you guys.
Have you tried
people-
LSPCI?
Yes, it doesn't show up.
Are people clamoring for video footage of the robot?
Yes,
box?
because I said they are.
Yes, they're clamoring to see his cat poop.
Anyway, here's the. If you're watching the feed,
Holy cow!
see how big that heatsink is?
Yeah.
And it's got a
yeah.
little breakout board too on the bottom here, so that you don't have to wire the power. You can just as a barrel jack for the power. It's got some little LEDs here, and then here's the camera right here, and it's actually a really nice camera if you can kind of see the camera board. Nice optics, but it plugs in right there.
Do you know what
Let's see what the connection
supported resolution is?
No. All it says
Probably.
is webcam. It doesn't say the type of connection, but I can't get it to work. I can't. And they sell the cameras by themselves too. But and then I can't get anybody to respond. I even put a thread on Reddit and on GitHub. Hey, how are you? And I haven't heard of anybody getting this camera to work. I've heard of one guy who works for Intel that got it to work with Clear Linux on the Atomic Pi.
Does it connect via the PCB, or how does it hooked up?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
If you can see right there, that's the connection right there.
Have you tried it on a different? I would troubleshoot it by trying it on a different board.
But I don't have. It's a custom connection on this board that's made just
okay.
for the camera. It even says
Okay.
camera on the connection.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so
And what had they been used? Oh, you said like a robot or something.
yeah,
Okay.
it was supposed to go into a robot that never actually made it out of production.
Gotcha.
But it's a really cool board. I mean, this was originally my email server. I had because it's the breakout board has a what do you call it, USB on it and stuff. And when I was first messing around with getting the email server running, this is what I put it on before I moved it to Proxmox. But it's also got an SD card slot right there.
Have you tried out like a cheap USB cam?
No, I haven't. I guess I could. I don't have one though. But I do have those Wise cams.
Goodwill.
And hey, you want to trade a cheap USB cam for that power supply?
Let me see if I have one sitting around. Yeah, I gotta find one.
But those Wise cams, I think they
Will it run 80B?
Like with Android. I don't know. I haven't put Android on it. There's an Android image for it.
Well, no, I don't want it run Android. I want it to run 80B and then like run Droid Cam.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't tried that.
Because I can grab a cheap freaking Android phone.
Oh, that's a
There's
good
a stack
idea.
of them.
Well, you know, I have an Android phone too that I'm not using. That's a good idea, Joe. I didn't even think about that. I could use that as a webcam. But I really wanted to get this working because I thought it was such a cool camera, but I can't.
I'm saying that's why I was asking if it would run 80B. If it runs Ubuntu, it should run 80B.
Yeah, okay. Maybe so. Maybe that should be my next step because I was about ready to give up on it on this camera, but I really wanted to get it running because I'm not using it. This board, I'd like to use it. It even has RTC with there's the little battery right there. I mean, it's a cool little board, you know. But anyway, so that's really the only kind of tech related thing I've been messing with lately. Trying to get that to run. I'm about ready to give up on it and just maybe I should do that. What Joe said, just get a cheap. I have an old Android phone I could use for the cam. I also have some tiny Orange Pi cameras that goes my Orange Pi. Try that next. Put what's that distro? The Debian Armbian. Yeah, I could put Armbian in there and see if I can get that running. But yeah, I've tried to compile the camera module. I even built the kernel and with the patch and no go. And the only a couple of people I've seen that got it to work have only been able to like grab a few frames from it, not even a video stream. So, and Digital Loggers isn't responding to me on GitHub. I think they've just washed their hands of it already. So that's my adventure. What about you guys? Projects like that?
I've been going on the Pi KVM. Have you ever used one of those?
I have not, no.
So I've used Pi KVM before. I had it on a Pi Zero, and that quit working some time ago. So I think it was the board because the Wi-Fi stopped working. So I bought a couple more Pi Zero 2Ws, set it up, and with the Pi Zero 2W you could do tail scale on it. It's pretty good. I got a couple of extra of the HDMI modules, and I've got a little 1.5 inch OLED screen, so it'll give you the IP address if you need it. So that's what I'm just building up at the moment. It works pretty good.
Do you guys remember that project that I did where I was trying to use a headset with a Raspberry Pi where it was just piping the USB to my desktop so that I could walk around?
No.
I did it on this show.
I want to say yes.
Yeah, but yeah, that was basically using the Raspberry Pi Zero as a pass-through, and it worked really well with like the keyboard and mouse. So I could easily like switch between devices that were calling it, but there was a little bit too much latency for it to work well with the headset. So
Was that
I never...
Pi KVM too?
It's the same concept, except I was doing it. I wasn't using somebody else's code to do it. I was just setting up that USB pass through. But it's the same idea.
And what were you using it for, Fatboy? The Pi KVM?
So I work away quite a lot. So when I'm away, I have one on my server. So I'm going to have a couple now, just on a couple of servers, and you can just get terminal access. You can, if your machine's completely bought, you can reboot it. You can get into the BIOS. You can do everything. It's pretty good for remote access. A commercial one will be several $100s for a commercial one. You build one out of, say, a Pi Zero. Probably get all together for about $80 all in.
How do you connect
It's
it?
a little different than my idea, yeah.
How do you connect it to your server?
So you can either connect it HDMI. So the HDMI, you connect the HDMI into the dongle, into like an expansion board, which then goes into the camera port of the Pi. So then you've got the video coming through. You go onto a web. It gives you a web page, so you see the video feed, and then you can plug the USB. You can connect the USBs up from the Pi into your target machine, and it'll emulate the keyboard and mouse. But it'll also emulate a CD drive as well, so you can upload an ISO, reboot a machine, and start installing from CD in a way. It works pretty good.
I need to get that working because that...
So essentially it's USB to HDMI. So your server is outputting HDMI to the USB of the Pi, and then the Pi is allowing you to interface with the server, right?
Well, there's two types of HDMI. You can either use it with a HDMI dongle for USB.
Right.
That's got quite a bit of latency on it, but I've got it as the
camera,
as going straight into the camera port. But then the Pi Zero can do USB on the go, what they call OTG. So that can then emulate the keyboard and mouse. But it works. It works pretty. It's pretty cool. Pretty good how it works.
And that connects. Okay, so the emulation, the keyboard and mouse emulation comes from via the on-the-go port, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So you've got your micro USB.
Yeah.
So you connect micro USB to the USB-A port on your target machine, and it'll actually, if it's just a Pi Zero W, you can power it up through that USB port as well.
Nice.
So if your server's not got
Hey,
HDMI,
Joe, you're loud.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me
if your server's not got HDMI, I've got VGA to HDMI adapter as well.
Right.
So you can go straight through. But yeah, it fits in a case like a couple of inches, just a bit bigger than the Pi Zero, and powered from the USB port, and it's doing data through the USB port for the keyboard and mouse. Pretty good, pretty nice little project. It's on GitHub.
Cool. I put a link to that in the show notes. Pi KVM. I wonder if there's a similar something for like the other boards, like Orange Pi or Radshaw or something like that.
They have a Discord channel, so where people, you can do unofficial builds. It's actually built on Arch. So the guy's done it on Arch, and but there are other builds. People have tried it on other machines, but the main one is the Pi. What he aims is ISOs at.
So this on the Pi KVM page, they are going over IP.
Yeah, it's over IP. And they're actually even selling their own hardware on Kickstarter, which is kind of cool.
I see that.
And the beauty, if you link it up with Tailscale, you can have the target machine on any network in the world.
Yeah.
You can be anywhere, you know.
That's
That
right.
would be crazy. Okay.
And so let me see. Do they? Okay, United States, they have it at the Pi Shop. If you want to buy a box that's already made, whoa, it's $384.
Yikes.
Yeah, that has a lot of other stuff on it as well. So if you've got an ATX machine, you can tie it into the motherboard, and you can do force reboots and resets and all the other things.
Okay.
Nice.
But as I say, if you just build it with a Pi 0, or you can build it with a Pi 2 and a Pi 3 as well. But then you need a Pico. I think it's a Pico what they use just to emulate the, because that's not got the OTG capabilities. But the best thing to do it on is either a Pi 4 or a Pi 0.
Yeah. I do have some Picos, but I don't, like you said, it doesn't have the OTG on it. Maybe I could find this for one of my other small boards, like my other single board computers. I don't have.
I think you could set most of that up yourself, really. I mean,
Really?
as long as you had some way to output the HDMI to either USB or a camera output, some type of video input on your device, then you could do most of it. I mean, there's all the other stuff that already exists to do the HID style device from like a Pi or anything else. So I'm pretty sure that you could do it with the knowledge that you have, and probably the hardware that you have on hand.
I'll have to look into this weekend. This would be a neat little project.
The top right corner has a DIY get started, and it's
I see that. Yeah.
GitHub, and just talks about what you need. Raspberry Pi 234 or 02W. Full HD video using advanced HDMI to CSI bridge or USB dongle. Extra low latency video. So, looks like you can do most of it, yeah.
It says 02W, but you said just a regular 0 will work, right?
Well,
It says,
the 0,
it says 02W.
They used to have the 0, but they don't do the architecture for it now. They don't build it for that anymore.
If you're gonna do like the 0, the non-W, like, I mean, you're still gonna have to connect it to a network somehow to be able to get anything done. So, like, this is what I was looking for when I was making all that noise.
Is that HDMI to USB?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one of those. I'll tell you what I use one of those for is, you know, when you've got a Pi and then you need a monitor. I use that as like the camera, so you have a laptop to one side, and it's like,
and just turn on VLC or OBS, and it counts as a video input. So, yeah, that's exactly what I got this for. Except I want to be able to do that with my 1GX to one of my large monitors, or I want to be able to like grab. Oh, I just had it. This, which is the USB-C to HDMI, and then hook my phone up and then basically use it the way DeX is supposed to work on like Windows and things like that. So
yeah, I used to carry one of those adapters when I was traveling a lot and doing presentations for work and connecting to like projectors, stuff like that. My laptop didn't have a reliable HDMI port, so that was always good to have.
Well, this is kind of the opposite. You mean this?
No, I had to use USB. No, I had to use USB to HDMI because my laptop didn't have.
This is HD. This one is HDMI to USB.
Yeah. You went the other way, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Interesting.
This one would be USB to HDMI, but it's USB-C to HDMI.
Gotcha. USB-C, all the things.
Yeah, I agree. Except it's still difficult to find motherboards. Well, I haven't looked, like in the last year or so, with USB-C like built in. You still got to get like a PCI
Hmm.
Express card or something if you want USB-C.
I think the latest one I got, maybe? I don't know. It's under my desk. I haven't actually looked at the back of it in a while. But yeah, I think maybe this one did come with at least one USB-C. On the back, though, not... I mean,
It's
I'd
such
have
a-
to get a case with USB-C.
I mean, if it's like the full bandwidth connection for USB-C, what is it? USB 3.2 or USB 4? I don't even know what it's up to now. But yeah, if it's got that full like 40 or 60 meg speeds, then I can see where that would be extremely useful.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Morton's
This is so
in the chat.
Yeah, I heard it. I saw the message. Being
Lugbot.
shy.
Yeah, Lugbot just joined. He won't be speaking tonight. I'm doing a complete firmware upgrade on the robotics of his voice,
On the AI.
so that it can be easier to understand.
You're just going to go grab an AI one of these days and replace Lugbot, aren't you?
No, I would never do that to Lugbot. He's still working with.
Hello, humans.
Oh, is that a Morton C with the
Yeah.
sketchy audio there? Awesome.
Yes.
Where are you reporting from, Morton C?
I'm still in Thailand for 2 more weeks.
Oh, so but you left Singapore already.
Yes, Singapore was just for a day and a half.
Oh, okay. Quick trip.
Yeah, had to leave the country to reset my visa status.
Oh, okay.
So you can stay. How long can you stay each time you do that?
30 days.
Oh, okay.
I got one extension. Of 30 days on my visa, and they only do one extension.
Oh, I see.
So it used to be a 90-day visa. You didn't have to do anything for America, Canada, Europe. And then the year I came, they switched it from 90 days to 45. So I had to get an extension that year. And then they changed it this time around to 30 days instead of 45. And you can only do one extension. So you have to leave the country.
But only for a short time.
Oh,
A full 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
One other thing I wanted to mention that I got working was the Joplin web interface.
Oh, cool.
I wanted to ask you about that because I use Joplin. I know Eric uses Joplin.
Mhm.
I think that would be interesting to have set up.
Yeah,
A lot
This
so
isn't
easier.
just the plugin. This is
No,
not the
this is
extension.
the web server for
Oh, okay.
Joplin. Yeah, so you can access it from a browser, and it's still, it's the same sync wherever you're syncing Joplin. It syncs to the same source. So I got it working for about 24 hours, and then I have no idea what happened, but I was running it through NGINX Proxy Manager to give me SSL, and for some reason it just dropped out to where I can no longer access it securely. Like it said this page is insecure, and Firefox wouldn't even let me go to the. So it worked awesome for the first 24 hours it was up. I don't know what happened. I think it was a cert issue or something happened with my proxy. But while it was working, I can give you a little quick review. You can do pretty much everything within the web browser that you can do within the app. And I had it connected to my Nextcloud server, which is where I sync Joplin, and it had no issue connecting to Nextcloud. And you can create notebooks, you can browse your other notebooks, you can edit notes, you can create new notes. The interface is pretty 90s, like it's I'll put a link to it in the show notes so you can see.
Is it Joplin vieweb?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay,
thank you.
because I was going to say Joplin Web says it's discontinued.
it's called Joplin vieweb, and it actually works pretty good. I'm not. I think it said it lists some things that it can't do, but I forgot what those were. But if you go to,
Is it just me or Minnix? Is your audio chop?
is it bad? Am I cutting in?
No,
and out?
it sounds fine to me.
No, it sounds fine to me too.
But it could be everybody more than, or I'm sorry, not Miner, just because he was the only one talking.
So I put a link in the show notes. So if you go to that GitHub link, you'll see kind of what it looks like, and you can see it's kind of the old school original web interfaces for applications like this. And I wish there was a dark mode. There's not. It's always blinding white whenever you're using it. It has an admin interface as well as a user interface. On the admin interface is where you can make any kind of like system-wide changes and where you set up passwords and stuff like that. And it does nesting. Let's see what it doesn't do. No, it does. Okay, sort notebooks or notes. So no sorting. And you can't move a note or a notebook from one notebook to another. So those are the two limitations.
So it's really just a viewer.
Yeah, I guess.
Simple web viewer / editor for Joplin. So you can do notes, but you can't like. Okay, yeah. So they're probably just built in.
Can't sort them. So
yeah, they probably just built in that level and just haven't. Well, maybe they will keep going depending on interest, but so I mean, so they're probably just positioning it then as like a quick, like how to take a note or make a change to a note, but it's not really a replacement. Yeah.
And it does all the markdown and stuff. It's got its own code editor, and
Gotcha.
if you look through the, it's all tabbed and stuff, and you can do either to-do lists or regular notes, and you can use if you want to do markdown by hand, you can, or you can use the editor to do like highlighted and bold text and stuff like that. And so it works really well. And once I figure out, see, the thing is, I have it running in a Linux container that's also running, I forgot what, but it's running something else. But I think there's some kind of networking issue between the two Docker images. It's maybe trying to use the same Docker network within the LXC, and it's having problems. Saying, it's using the same container as CRX and G too, the search engine. So I really need to make its own container, which is the correct way to do it anyway.
Does it look like, and it's a Docker image, obviously, but
yeah.
So do you have to co-locate the encrypted notes files, or does it go out and get them the same way the client does?
Yeah, the same way the client does. So it has if you look at the screenshot, it's got a synchronization, and you can set how often you want it to sync, or you can manually trigger a sync too and stuff. And it says it supported targets are Nextcloud, Joplin Server, WebDAV, and S3. So all those. Joe, are you talking? We don't hear anything.
Don't encourage him.
As long as it works with Nextcloud, we're good.
Yeah. That's how I have it set up, working with Nextcloud. But for people that don't know, Joplin is a really handy note-taking application that's made for mobile. But with this Joplin vieweb, I guess it's called, you can also access your Joplin notes within the browser, and it works really well. Once I get it figured out how to do it again, it's totally an an Nginx issue. It has nothing to do with the application itself, because I can access it locally through my LAN and it's fine, but for some reason passing through Nginx, it's getting some signals crossed. So what I'll probably do is just create its own LXC just for Joplin vieweb and set it up again. But I recommend it. Like I said, the interface is not the most modern. It doesn't look as pretty as the mobile app, but it gets the job done. It does what it needs to do.
Now, would you prefer to use it? So I guess I'm trying to think of a situation where I wouldn't have access to either my computer and the client or my phone and the Android client.
I use it at work. So
okay.
Like we can't
so that it's
just
not
install
installed
stuff
on
our on computers at work.
Borrowing someone's computer.
Yeah. So yeah, they have
tablet.
An official Joplin client, desktop client that's really nice too. But
do they have a portable version? I guess that would be stupid.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be not good. I mean, you only need one instance of this set up somewhere.
But if you just want to access it through the browser like I do at work, then this works really well. And I recommend it. So that's my Joplin experience.
It's nice to see this level of participation in the Jitsi.
Yeah, got everybody on here. If you're listening to the podcast, you should join us because we have a lot of fun on here. And you can join the Jitsi and you don't even have to turn on your camera. Netminer does that, and you can see all of our beautiful faces.
Lovecraft does that.
Lovecraft does that, and we welcome you to be on here. If you're horribly disfigured and you can't view cameras for fear of breaking them, that's fine. You can turn it off.
It doesn't stop me, and it doesn't stop Danny.
Yeah, it doesn't stop me. I have to replace my webcam every time we do a show. But yeah, we want you to come on here. That's the whole purpose of this thing. Listener participation. We had Scotty on the last couple of shows. That was great.
9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month.
Mm-hmm. What UTC is 5?
I think I don't recall.
Well, I was hoping that Scotty was going to be back on again because I wanted to see how his printer was working, if he was able to connect it to both of the VLANs.
Mm-hmm.
2 a.m. UTC. I was way off.
He did at least one HPR episode.
Did he?
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
does anybody know the status of HPR? Speaking of HPR,
They're still
It seems
around.
like-
They need shows.
But
they've
did they make a decision on what they want to do?
Oh.
They want people to make shows. That's what they want.
Right.
But I know they were asking people if they should even continue.
Because there were no shows.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they weren't able to put out
shows
daily.
was, yeah.
I mean, the frequency has been every day, which is
Every
I know
weekday.
what. Yeah, right. Which is what they want. And then they've had some people. I'm not a long-time listener, so I don't know how many people are just continuing what they do. But there've been some fun ones. What's in my bag? I thought that was just a random funny thing. Yeah, Scotty did one on, I think, privacy.
Yeah, he's a big privacy guy.
Yeah. So I think he was talking about privacy, and it's tough to tell who's who because you have to kind of can you
Dig
see
in a
it just
little
by
bit,
going
yeah.
in? Yeah, because it doesn't say who it is. It just says I like this one, Cyberpunk 2077. I love the story-based games and experiences, and it goes through the description, but it doesn't actually say who it is. So you have to like play the intro, and then you'll find out. So I wish they would do a better job in their descriptions. Just a suggestion. I mean, I think it makes it easier.
That's still up to the people that are making them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they do a canned intro every time. The lady that reads the
Some
intro.
of them do.
everyone I've listened to has that like stock.
Yeah, text to
Oh,
speech.
okay.
Yeah. So just the fact that, I mean, I would just say, all I'm saying is that not having it in the description makes it difficult for me to even look and see which one Scotty did. I'd have to listen to every one of them, at least the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, that way it is. But if you go to hackerpublicradio.org, the website itself, it shows who it is. But you're right. When you go to like a podcatcher, it just gives a description of the. It doesn't tell you who did it in
Gotcha.
the description. So let's go.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. I don't really go to the website very often.
Yeah.
Radio.org.
Well,
anyway, it was good to see that there has been at least some response. It may not be like overwhelming, but it seems like some people have stepped up. And
I need to make a show eventually.
I don't understand why this should be part of the description for the RSS feed.
Yeah.
Hosted by Daniel Pearson on blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay. Maybe they think people will go to the website instead of.
Maybe they're hoping at the pushing more of the content versus the contributor.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of some ideas. I mean, I know that you could technically make them about just about anything, but I don't know. I'm kind of like, someone did an origin story. You know, how they started getting in with Linux, and
those are always good ones.
Yeah,
the very basic ones are usually the how you got into Linux or how you got into podcasting, and then the, like you said, the what's in my bag. What's in my bag is usually like a very basic one, because a lot of times if people who are in the technical field, they have their their bag, their backpack, their suit, their computer bag or whatever, and it's all got usually all sorts of goodies in there, and they like to share all those goodies that they like to bring from job to job. So those are kind of cool too. There's even some of them where they like to just talk about experiences, doing something that they work wise or whatever that they had happen. That you can stuff that you can share with, that's like work wise. Simple stuff. Sometimes those very basic ones, like how you first got into computers or Linux or podcasting or any of that. Those are usually pretty good.
So the one from February 8th was from Swift 110, who I've known for years from a different stream. He's a pretty cool guy. So, and I know he's new at this, so that's good. At least, it seems like some people have stepped up. So I think them announcing and requesting people make content seems to have helped. Change your passwords once in a while. I thought that one was good. Delta Ray. I liked his delivery. He had a really weird clip on his microphone, but his voice is good. Yeah, it's been an interesting mix of stuff.
And it's an interesting mix of the people that do it, they're all well-meaning and they're all good to listen to and they're all smart guys, but it's a little hit or miss on the audio quality. I mean, there have been some that I've listened to on there where like the wind is blowing so bad I can barely hear the person. But, I don't have any complaints. It's still, they're putting stuff out for free, and I get to pick and choose the topics that I listen to. So
I think it's fun to have that kind of variety where, like, I have probably 30 podcasts that I follow on any regular basis, and I just get bored with them sometimes. And I find myself like with a whole list full of ones that I'm just like, I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to that. So HPR is neat because you just don't know what's going to be in there. So.
Yeah, you sometimes get people driving home, don't you? And they'll record themselves on the drive home. Some of the good ones that I've heard of the guys doing that. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
stream of consciousness.
It's one of like the few podcasts that I don't have set to automatically download because I'm going to pick and choose the ones that I get and listen to.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm saying.
I hadn't realized that they did the community review or the news, HPR news. I thought that was kind of neat, actually.
Yep.
Well, since we were talking about projects, I did put in the show notes the new travel router that I purchased because I think my old one is dead. I gotta dig into it, but I needed something out here in my garage to extend my Wi-Fi from inside.
What'd you end up
So-
getting? Oh, you put it in the show notes?
I did. I got the GL iNet.
Mhm.
Let me see. GL iNet GL SFT 1200. It's actually
heard like 3 of those.
really good.
Yeah, I don't think I had the 12. The 1200 is probably newer.
There are newer ones than this one. This one was $40, which is
Oh, that thing's cute.
more than I usually choose to spend on a travel router. I think the last one was 15,
Mm-hmm.
but it died hard. Like it shut down my switch out here, and I was trying to analyze what had gone wrong with my switch and why none of my internet was working in my garage. And then I disconnected that to check the cable, and suddenly everything was working again. So
You said it was the SFT 1200.
Yeah.
Neat. I like
I'm
the
looking
little
at it
antennas.
now.
Yeah, and so this has 2 gigabit LAN ports and a
Yeah.
gigabit WAN port and USB, and it will do well, it's got a switch on the side and a button that you can program what they do. I think the button is power, but the switch you can program what it does, so you can have it either have OpenVPN on or off, or your WireGuard on or off. You can go in there and just programmatically make it do whatever. And it does have the WireGuard built in and OpenVPN built in as either a server or a client. So you can set it all up before you leave the house so that whatever network you hook up to, it's going to ring back to your home and everything is encrypted back to the house. So, and the speeds have been great. It's got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, which is a big upgrade over my previous one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what made you pick this particular one? Did you
The
hear about
price
it,
of
or-
performance.
Yeah.
No, I was just going through and reading reviews and seeing the capabilities and looking at the prices, and this one kind of fit the bill for the size. It does use USB-C, and it eats a bit more power than my old one, but I was willing to make that trade. I just didn't want anything that was a barrel jack with its own proprietary
Yeah. Wall
12
wart, yeah.
volt whatever power input. So I can hook this up to anything if I need to.
That runs on Open WRT 18.
Correct. That was one of my sticking points. I needed something that ran OpenWRT out of the box.
Oh, it does. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. So it's not some proprietary Chinese firmware.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
right now I just have it set up as an access point, so I have the DHCP table turned off. It is literally just piping the internet through it, and it does have its own, SSID, so it does not match the one inside, so that I can connect to it separately, and it's just for out here in the garage.
That's cool. It has WireGuard built in. I had to stop using OpenVPN because on my router, because Fedora no longer supports 128-bit encryption. So my router only has 128-bit encryption with its OpenVPN server. And so
I thought you could force it to do the heavier encryption by changing out the key.
No, I don't think so. Not on my router anyway. The
When
TP
you go,
link.
you know how when you go in and you set up the client.ovpn and it has the key there, and the one that the router generates is like 128, but if you generate the key somewhere else, then it'll do 256.
So if you generate the key and then import it into the OpenVPN server on the
I
router?
think that's how it works. It's been a long time since I've had to do it. I've been
'cause
using the same client.ovpn for a really long time now, so if I remember right, that's what I ended up having to do. But like
And
I
it
said,
worked?
it's been so long, and my memory isn't what it used to be. It's working now, so but I think that's what I had to do in the end. But I don't remember exactly.
Interesting, because I looked for any kind of option or anything. I couldn't find it, and I went to the TP-Link forums, and they said we only support 128, but they didn't say anything about doing that trick that you mentioned. Well, it doesn't matter now. I'm using WireGuard, but
Yeah, the WireGuard works great. I have WireGuard set up on my Pi Zero that also runs my Pi hole, and that works really well. So
I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna do this food review real quick. This is I'm showing it on the screen. Joe says they suck, but
they're going to be high quality. Don't worry, I'm wrong. They'll be extra tasty.
It's some protein tortilla chips that I was going to try. Quest tortilla style protein chips, loaded taco flavor, 19 grams of protein. So I'm going to have one real quick. Just you can hear me opening the bag.
How many calories?
Let's see. 140 per bag.
Actually, the macro split on that is really good. I mean,
it's
really
total
good.
fat 5 grams, cholesterol 5 grams, sodium 290 milligrams.
Well, just the 140 calories to 19 grams of protein, that's actually really good. That's better than most protein bars.
Of carbohydrates, and it's got it says it's actually whey protein or milk derived protein. So anyway, I'm going to try one right now.
Cardboard covered in powder.
It's not terrible.
I wouldn't call that arousing.
It's not a Dorito.
That wasn't good either.
Hang on, let me try one more. Let me see.
It didn't make me gag.
Actually,
Walkers.
it's not bad.
Let me ask you a question. Is it worth the 3 times price that you paid for it over a regular bag of chips?
I would say it's like 6 times the price. Say if you can get these bags for like 75 cents or so. Maybe $1, I guess. No, it's not worth that. But
well, I've been eating those.
Yeah,
smoky bacon
that
walkers.
sounds good.
Smoky bacon.
That actually probably tastes good. But does it have 19 grams of protein, fat boy?
Oh,
It's
no.
got like 1
but
gram of protein.
But smoky bacon, it's suitable for vegetarians.
Oh,
There you go.
this is not vegan or vegetarian since it uses milk products. But
Right.
I'll have to say it's
Well,
not
no,
as bad
it's-
as Joe made it out to be.
It still could be considered vegetarian, just not vegan.
Right.
No meat. Yeah, I would recommend these if you're looking for a high protein tortilla chip.
I always am.
Loaded taco flavor. I haven't tried any of the other flavors, but I give this a thumbs up for what it is. If this was just a regular chip, it would get a big thumbs down.
Really?
Yeah, but for a protein chip, which I've never eaten before, 19 grams of protein, thumbs up. So there's my review.
Because I lowered his expectations, he gave it a thumbs up.
He did. He said I would be eating cardboard, and it's not cardboard. It actually has a nice crunch, and good. I think it's so seasoned that covers up what may be a cardboard flavor if it wasn't. Like, what is it? The low carb tortillas. I cannot eat those.
I do all the time. Every
I can't
day.
stand it. It's like eating a paper
Every
plate.
day.
They're awful.
You got to change your company. You got to try different ones and find the one that works for you.
Mission is the last one I tried.
Try La Banderita.
La Banderita. Okay, I'll try those. But anyway, these for what they are, they get a thumbs up. So that's my review. Not 2 thumbs up, but 1 thumbs up.
I'm pretty sure I'd rather have Fat Boys chips. Smoky bacon.
Oh, I've also reformatted my computer twice in the last week.
Yeah,
But I told you guys a little bit about that.
I saw you mention that on Matrix. Why don't you tell us why you had to do this?
I started having like graphical glitches really bad, and which wouldn't have caused me to like reformat. But then all of a sudden I had like really horrible screen resolution on both of my screens, and no matter what I did, the exact same image was going to both of them. And I mean, I tried replacing cables, I tried unloading the graphics modules, loading new ones, I tried upgrading to Mint, what is it, 21.3 or whatever the new one is, but nothing worked. So then I thought it might be a hardware issue. Either the power supply wasn't providing enough power to the graphics card, or the graphics card had crapped. So I loaded up a live ISO. I am going to be talking about this again tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Sunday. And the live ISO, it all worked fine. So I reformatted, and then the part of the backup process, or the restore process, kind of bricked everything again. My own mistake. If you want to hear about it, listen to the Mintcast. But
were you using time shift?
No, Mint has a backup and recovery tool other than time shift. All it really does is, well, you can use it to back up all your files and your like config files if you set it up that way. But it'll also just record every application that you have installed, and then it will try to reinstall them. It doesn't do things that like aren't in the repos, but anything that is in the regular repos, it will reinstall for you. And then by restoring your files, you can restore all your config files and be running the way that you were before. I'm not sure how time shift works, but I know it's also installed in Linux Mint, but it's not what I used.
So you had to. You said you had to do this twice. What was the second reason you did it?
Like I said, the restore process. Like I had restored everything, and then I had also copied my FS tab back. But when I copied my FS tab back, I did it the incorrect way and overwrote the old one, which made a change that basically made it so that it wouldn't boot. I was able to get to a command line. I was able to restore the other FS tab, and even then, for some reason, it still wouldn't boot. So, or at least not to Cinnamon. It would just boot to command line. So I was still early on in the process, so I just, did it all again and built everything from scratch.
Now how's it running?
It's running good. No graphical issues whatsoever. I mean, before I was having this problem where like Chrome would suddenly just go nuts, and I'd see my desktop background in the image, and then I'd have to scroll or something to get it all to recomposite and show back up, and now I don't have those problems.
So did you end up putting a real distro on there, or did you put Mint on there
yeah,
again?
I did put a real distro on there. It's called Linux Mint. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, and it sucks because once again my audio bookshelf, all the matching is undone.
There's no way to save it. Is it like a database or a flat file?
There is. I would have to dig into it more.
It's a database, I think.
The configuration database that has all that information isn't stored in my /home, which is what I backed up. It's like stored under lib. So because I didn't take a backup of lib, I don't have it.
Seems like a poor design choice.
If you really, I think it's under lib. I'd have to double check. But if you really want to get on to the developer's Discord page and tell him how he's screwing up, go right ahead.
No, it's strange to house. It's strange to house user files.
I think that's where it is. I would have to look again. It does seem odd now that I'm thinking about it, but I know that's where some of the config was. So I don't have everything to be able to restore it.
By the way, I have no problem telling developers they're doing things wrong. That was my job for 5 years.
Oh, it's my job too, but this guy's providing it for free, and I'm not going to chew him out. I'm just going to say thank you very kindly for making this work.
Eric will tell him, won't you?
It's the guys that are getting
I will.
paid that are doing it wrong that I yell at.
Like, man, this guy I know, he had to format his hard drive. He backed up home, and then like all of it wasn't there. Like, what's the deal, man?
So yeah, well, technically this would be the third time that
3,
well,
Now I'm livid.
you remember me talking about it last time,
and you still installed Mint. What is wrong with
well,
you?
yeah, but this would be the first time I reinstalled Audio Bookshelf and wasn't able to get any of the matches back.
I actually spent some time on Lemmy this week.
You did.
I did.
You would do some
There's some
exploring.
good stuff on there. Yeah, there's some good stuff on there.
Let me see.
I up arrowed some things. Didn't actually comment, but
All the stuff that Danny didn't put on there.
We have. I'll give us our community update for our Lemmy server. We have how many users? 130 subscribers. Nice.
you had just broken 100. What, 2 shows ago, maybe?
Something like that.
Or no, I broke the 100. Right? Wasn't it?
Oh,
like
that's
99?
right. You did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Another 30.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy with that.
There's a lot of stuff that happened with Mozilla lately. I don't know if that's
I
worth
actually
getting
am
into,
hoping that the new CEO actually like focuses more on the browser and less on this, like on these products. I know they have to earn money. I'm not, but I think they can do it better by getting grants from companies. If GNOME got $1 million from somewhere in the EU and someone else related got like 300,000, something like that, you got to figure somebody out there has money for the only alternative browser.
Well, they got to do something because, like we mentioned, what was their share of the
Like
browser space? 2%,
6% or something.
I think it was like 2.2%.
Oh, I'm thinking of Linux. Desktop Linux is like 6%, I think.
So
Yeah, but they're saying that it's sliding back down, and that the whole reason that it had gone up was the Steam Deck. So
the new CEO, Laura Chambers, is the new CEO. So Mitchell Baker, she was making $7 million a year, for running Firefox into the ground. That's interesting.
And probably had a lovely golden parachute on the way out.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Says,
I mean,
it says she's
I
still
would
the
have done it for
chairperson.
much less. I would have run Firefox into the ground for
3.5.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. Well, let's hope something changes. The last news update I gave about Mozilla said they laid off 60 people recently, and they want to build AI into Firefox. So they're already starting on a bad foot, I would say.
Why? What the? What?
Because
what part
AI is the new buzzword.
Yes.
Yeah,
Everybody AI this, AI that.
I've actually found an integration that I like. Amazon is now using an AI system to scan the feedback, the reviews and comments, and pull out keywords, both positive and negative, which is pretty cool. And then if you click on one of them, you can actually see relevant comments.
Yeah, I didn't
explain.
I didn't know that was AI. I did notice that, and that is extremely helpful. But yeah, I did not know that was from AI.
Yeah, when you click on one of the terms, it'll actually take you, and it says this was compiled by using AI technology. And it's actually really helpful because a lot of times I'll search for certain words, and you can find comments based on that, but to have the keywords the bubble up like that, especially something that's got like a battery and it'll have like, red battery, and you click on it and it's like, all the people are like having problems with the battery or something. So anyway, it's actually pretty smart use of that kind of technology. And it's probably one of the first ones that has been genuinely useful for me personally.
So it says they laid off 60 jobs, which is 5% of their workforce. So that means they had 1,200 people working for Mozilla. That's way more than I thought. No, they were that big. Yeah, what are they doing? Yeah. Oh, here's some of what they were doing. Some of their products. They just released Mozilla Monitor, a new paid service where you can see if. Well, they've had Mozilla Monitor for a while, but now they have a paid service.
Pro.
Yeah, a pro service that's I think $9 a month or something. But,
14.
Oh, is it really?
It's expensive.
So the original Mozilla Monitor, which still exists, it just tells you if any of your info was involved in a data breach. Now, what the paid version says they can
plus.
They can scrub your data from data brokers.
They can request.
Yeah. How do they do that? They just write a letter?
You can request. You can go. There are literally hundreds of data brokers. Not all of them are as important as others, but you can go to the site and search for your data, put in a request for some. I don't think it's wide open that you can obviously just search for data, or it shows you redacted. When you search, it'll show you kind of like the redacted version of data they have on you, and then I think it's like law that they have to allow you to request to take your data down because it's technically your data.
That was part of what was that thing that happened in the EU? Yeah. What was that called?
I don't know.
That's why you have to accept cookies on every single website now.
So the yearly price is what I was thinking about. It comes out to $9 a month.
Oh, $9. Okay.
But the monthly, you're right, is $14 a month.
So what I've heard though is basically that as an intermediary or a proxy that they can request that the data be removed, but I don't know that the companies have to honor that. That's the criticism I've heard so far.
That was my whole hang up about it. What's going to make these people actually take your data down? I mean, what incentive do they have to do that just because you asked them to?
Well, that was part of that. Yeah, that was part of that law. See, now I'm gonna have to look it up.
It says they search across 190 data broker sites that sell people's private information. If we find your data on any of these sites, we initiate the request for removal. Data removal can take anywhere from a day to a month. So that's available for the Plus users.
So PC World has an article from 2 days ago called "Data Brokers Have Your Personal Info. Here's how to wipe it clean." With a subheading of "Removing yourself from these databases is an aggravating version of whack-a-mole." More tools and services have cropped up to help you combat this Hydra-like problem, whether you're making the opt-out request yourself or outsourcing that work. I think maybe it's like a do not call list kind of thing.
GDPR.
Mornsey posted it. GDPR.
Yeah.
General Data Protection Regulation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did look at this Mozilla Monitor, and I thought, $8.99, that's not bad. And then I realized that's only if you pay for a year, and that's the monthly price for a year subscription. I thought it was $8.99 a year, and I was like, sign me up. I'll try it out. See, but no, it's $14 a month, $8.99 a month if you sign up for a year, which comes up to $107.88 before tax. So they can keep my data. But anyway.
And this isn't a unique product either. McAfee Plus Premium has a similar service. There are probably dozens of different companies.
Yeah, somebody on Lemmy mentioned a service they use, and they said it was pretty good, but I forgot what it was called. So Mozilla Monitor, as far as the products that Mozilla, they recently got rid of Mozilla Hub, which I don't know what that was, but that was one of their recent announcements along with the layoffs. Let's see.
Apparently, the issue is that they have to keep going back and requesting with the same. Unfortunately, this lack of privacy online is mostly a problem in the United States, which lacks data regulation like in Europe. But that could eventually change going forward. Starting in 2026, California residents can make a single opt-out request that will apply to all data brokers, thanks to a law called the Delete Act. While this won't affect the rest of the nation, other state legislatures could pick up the banner. So, okay, there is no law, I guess. And it sounds like even if you request it, that they can re-add you at some point after a certain amount of time or something. So why even take it down in the first place? That doesn't make any sense.
Mozilla VPN, you guys remember that?
Yep.
What were you
I know
say,
people
Hunky?
that actually use it.
Mozilla Hubs is it says Mozilla Hubs is the go-to virtual platform for educators, teams, and organizations, and it's got these pictures of this weird virtual area. I guess it's supposed to be used for teaching and stuff. I don't understand who would use this and why, or it seems very. If most of your job is just to create a freaking useful web browser, this doesn't seem like anything that would be in that spectrum of things.
Yeah, I never understood what it was. I think I glanced cursorily, is that a word? At what it does, but I didn't really get the gist of it. But it's for education mainly, you said?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at here, I'll drop a link real quick.
Pocket, they bought Pocket, remember that? It's like
they bought Pocket.
Yeah. I use Wallabag, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Firefox Relay for making burner email accounts. Well, they mentioned Firefox Focus. Isn't that what you use, Fatboy?
That's the.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, on the phone. Firefox Focus is pretty good on the phone.
Yeah. Firefox Send, an encrypted file transfer service. Do you remember this? A VR-focused Firefox Reality browser?
No.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, I mean, it's something that's VR focused, so.
It said Rust, the programming language, was spun out of Mozilla in 2020. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, so I know about the Rust Foundation, but I didn't know that Mozilla started it. So they've had lots of projects.
For the last month or so, I've actually been using Firefox as my main browser and coming off Chrome. Few teething issues, but it's not been too bad.
Mm-hmm. It said currently Firefox is the only browser that can't trace its lineage back to Apple and WebKit as far as active browsers.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Which is good.
It's wonderful, and that's the thing that kind of kills me is that they had what, like 60% at one point, 55, 60%. And at the time, obviously it was the best browser that wasn't like Internet Explorer or Safari if you even ever used Safari. And they won by merit alone. I used Firefox because it was just such a better experience than anything else that was available. And so it wasn't advertising, it wasn't, market control, privileged position on my systems where they could reach out to me. Like, I kind of heard about it grassroots and like just sort of found it. Obviously I was an IT professional, so that was a different level of computer usage. But like, it won because it was just better. And I think that's what they should shoot for, is to just make it such a better experience for people that once they try it, if you can get them to try it, then they just, there's no roadblocks. Unfortunately, there's a lot of development companies that or just developers that ignore Firefox or even are outwardly hostile to it. One of my medical portal systems that I have to use for my doctor just literally says this is an unsupported browser, a banner that comes up whenever I go to log in. I can still get in, it'll let me log in, but both times, like when I first get to the login screen, this is an unsupported browser, and then after I've logged in, it says it again. I'm like, fuck you, I'm using this browser. But it's just shitty because like normal people who might be using Firefox will get to something like that and be like, well, should I actually be using this browser? Right. And I know they do it because they just don't want to do the testing, which isn't hard because Firefox tends to follow standards better than Chrome does. Chrome likes to break them whenever that's convenient for them. It's frustrating.
The big worrying point to me is brought up in this article too, is that 80% of Firefox's or Mozilla's funding comes from Google by having their search within the Firefox browser, and
that's leadership.
That's very unhealthy.
That's a leadership issue. I'm saying, I think there are probably enough companies or consortiums or grants. There's got to be enough money in the world to fund this the only viable alternative to a complete single market dominance by a major corporation. That is a frightening thing, to have that much of a monoculture,
Their current products, they list the ones we already went over, but also a Sea Monkey, Thunderbird. Yep, Thunderbird. Firefox components or Gecko, Neko, Rhino, Servo. Oh, here's something interesting. Here's the graveyard of Firefox, kind of like the Google graveyard. Bonsai, web-based interface. Camino, do you remember that? That was a browser for Mac OS.
Yep, I do. I actually used Mac whenever that was a thing.
Yeah, I remember Camino as well. Let's see, Firefox OS. How about that? You guys remember that?
Yeah, it's mobile.
Yep.
Yeah, for smartphones and tablets. I forgot all about that.
It was evidently popular in third world countries for a very, very short amount of time. But
was it? The Firefox OS?
It was meant for
the Firefox
lower-end
phones. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Firefox phones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had another browser for handhelds called Minimo, which I don't remember that. But that was for it says handheld devices, not necessarily mobile devices. And then Sunbird, I don't know if you guys remember that. That was their calendar application.
Yeah, I used it.
But I think Thunderbird just integrated that within itself. So
Firefox Send is listed on mine. I'm looking at Wikipedia as being abandoned. Yeah.
It is. And I think I tried Firefox Send when it came out. I had completely forgot about it, but
it was okay. It was a little slow for big files, so I think that there are better alternatives for that. Again, I think these are interesting sort of experiments with web technologies, but they just look like a big list of distractions. Like, who is still using Sea Monkey? Like, why bother? Like, if you have any development effort going into that, like, why?
Well, what do you think is their best way to make money without depending on Google?
Ask for it. They're going to have to find another Google that isn't Google, because that's like taking, that it is literally the enemy, and the enemy is placating them. And I think by giving them just enough money to function, but not
in order to prevent themselves from being a full-on true monopoly, they are funding their competition. Competition.
Right.
Now I thought if they could invent a search like there. Have you ever heard of Kagi search? It's a paid
Mm-mm.
search engine, but it's
Oh,
so
okay.
good that lots of people use it because they said it's just that good and it's ad free and stuff. And but I think it's $5 a month. Starts at $5 a month, but it's supposed to be an excellent search engine, and now it's profitable. If they could get into a product like that actually ties into the browser instead of saying we're going to build AI into Firefox now, maybe that could get people to pay for it. I don't know.
So they give you 100 searches for this is Kagi, 100 free searches to get started, and then $5 a month for 300 searches per month. That would be so $10
like
a month. Yeah, I know. So I'd have to do the $10 unlimited, and then they have a $25.
What
for
does
advanced
$25
features.
get you?
It says all in professional plus access to our most advanced features. Doesn't say what those are, but
It better be good for $25 a
AI.
month.
It's
hey,
AI.
if there is
AI.
a search company that is profitable, being a paid search option,
Mhm.
I think that's a great thing, because I think it's probably for people who are just so sick of,
Data
I would
harvesting
want to know,
and being advertised to, and all, because you go to Google now and like half the links on the first page are all advertisement. They're all sponsored links and stuff, kind of like what Amazon is doing.
Well, Joe, and you said the AI, so the $10 plan gives you unlimited access to Fast GPT and Universal Summarizer, which must be their AI stuff. So, I mean, honestly, and you save 10% if you do an annual plan.
So what would let's just go away from Mozilla as a whole. What would Firefox have to do to become a much better browser for more people to accept it?
I think it would have to be faster and use less memory in general, because I do have probably 50 tabs open between different container groups, but it uses even for people that are using just maybe 10 tabs, like it uses a lot of memory, and so I've found that when I have it open, first of all, it takes a long time to restore everything, so it's a little slow compared to other implementations of the Chrome browser. So I think just overall, in general, having it be lighter weight, feel faster would be great, and whatever sort of engine improvements would need to be made to have that happen. Memory usage, I think, would be, good. I like this, that, they have the Firefox, I'm sorry, the Facebook
The
container
jail,
built in. I think that's a really smart thing.
I love, I never started using this until you brought it up, Eric, was the containerized tabs, like personal and work and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's awesome, because I have several email accounts with it, that I host on my own server. But yeah, each email account could be in its own tab, so I'm not logging in and out.
Yep.
Joe brought this up not too long ago, that Firefox will get a real test whenever Google starts its, what is it called, Joe, with Chrome? That it's going to make it a lot easier or a lot harder to install ad blockers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that they're putting in that thing where they're only allowed to have like 100 add-ons per extension or something like that, which is going to kind of brick uBlock Origin.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the whole point, is to brick uBlock Origin. So
yeah,
or
I think
any
they've
type
been
of
trying for years to do that. Yeah.
I think we will at least get some users to move to Firefox when that happens. I don't know how many.
I think I honestly feel like privacy has become more upfront in people's minds. I think that even like non-technical people maybe have enough people that they know, or they've seen enough things where in that idea that if you're
People
not
have been yelling at them long enough saying this is important that they're actually figuring out that this is important.
Well, the mantra of there is no such thing as free, and if it's free, you are the product. Those types of little sound bites, I think, are starting to stick more and more in people's minds, where it's like, well, why do I get this for free? And what, yes, it's giving me some value and it's useful, but like, what do they get out of it? And especially in the era of, I think that VC funding is going to be a little more difficult to come by, and this idea of being a startup where you just kind of start and literally piss away hundreds of millions of dollars while you're trying to figure out how to become profitable. If something like WeWork fails so spectacularly, and in such a huge fashion, like yes, SoftBank really gave them a long leash and all that, but I just feel like there have been enough calamitous failures that it's going to be more difficult. So I think the idea of everything being free may be less common. And I also feel like advertising has seeped back in to everything. I'm an Amazon Prime subscriber, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, if you don't want ads, you got to pay us another $3 a month.
Which there's a class action lawsuit now against Amazon.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
But the idea that like nobody wants commercials, no one, except for the advertisers, and it's like, how the hell do they keep pushing this stuff back in? It's just catnip. I just don't think that they can withstand the here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. And to be fair, like streaming services in particular have done a terrible job of managing, they basically turned themselves from content companies into tech companies and didn't realize how expensive that was. So I looked back at, like, historically at streaming services prices, and like most of them are double what they were at least when they started, and all of them are trying to find some way of incorporating advertising, which just pisses me off. I already pay for the higher price for Hulu and one other one to not see ads, and I wonder how long it's going to be possible to do that.
Since we're talking about browsers, I thought this was interesting. Chromium, the Chromium project, is rolling out web monetization, which maybe Firefox could include in their browser and get a cut. It says, let me put it in the show notes so you guys can see it before I talk about it. So what it is, it's a way for site owners to generate revenue without ads. So basically you go to a site and you agree to, I'll just read it. It's easier to. It facilitates automatic micropayments to website owners for viewing their content, potentially replacing traditional advertising models. Allows web pages to notify the browser of their readiness to receive payments passively, eliminating the need for payment request pop-ups. Enables payments for only the content viewed without being constrained by minimum payment thresholds typical of standard subscription models. For example, websites utilizing web monetization can grant immediate access to premium content when a user agrees to the terms without requiring upfront payment. After viewing a paid video, the browser automatically processes a micropayment transaction without interrupting the user's experience. It supports voluntary contributions for valuable content and allows users to set up automatic small payments to their favorite websites upon each visit, which is an interesting model, I would think, instead of going to PayPal and giving them money or setting up a subscription service or something.
Didn't Firefox have something similar, but it was a Bitcoin
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember that you could give to the different websites that you go to, or choose how it got split up. I don't remember. I thought it was one of the ones that I had invested in, that I made so much money on.
It says the technology does not permit sites to set payment amounts, but allows them to express willingness to accept payments. It's up to the user to decide the payment amount, frequency, and whether to pay a particular site. So
Yeah.
go ahead and implement this on the LinuxLUGcast webpage, Honky, and you'll just see millions of dollars rolling in. For some reason, I see this being abused in the future.
Yeah, I see Honky rolling around on 20-inch gold-plated rims and changing the name of the show to the Rimcast.
Yeah, Honky.
The Rimcast is a whole other podcast, trust me.
That's on his OnlyFans.
That's right.
Whatever pays. I mean, if I can make as much as some of those women do on OnlyFans, well, let's close here.
There's one more link I want to bring up here just because it affects me and Honky and whoever else uses Nginx. And it's that the main developer of Nginx is forking Nginx to free Nginx. Which I don't know how this is going to affect Nginx Proxy Manager or any of that stuff if they're going to use the fork. I'll put the link in the show notes. But his reasoning is kind of scary. It's called freenginx. It's a quick note on the mailing list. It says, as you probably know, F5, which is the company that develops Nginx, closed Moscow office in 2022, and I no longer work for F5 since then. Still, we've reached an agreement that I will maintain my role in Nginx development as a volunteer, and for almost 2 years I was working on improving Nginx and making it better for everyone for free. Unfortunately, some new non-technical management at F5 recently decided that they know better how to run open source projects. In particular, they decided to interfere with security policy Nginx uses for years, ignoring both the policy and developer's position. That's quite understandable. They own the project and can do anything with it, including doing marketing-motivated actions, ignoring developers' position and community. Still, this contradicts our agreement, and more importantly, I no longer able to control which changes are made in Nginx within F5 and no longer see Nginx as a free and open source project developed and maintained for the public good. As such, starting from today, I will no longer participate in Nginx development as run by F5. Instead, I'm starting an alternative project which is going to be run by developers and not corporate entities. freenginx.org. The goal is to keep Nginx development free from arbitrary corporate actions. Help and contributions are welcome. Hope it will be beneficial for everybody. That's a huge announcement. I can't tell you how many people and companies use Nginx for their web server. I mean, it's huge. It's got to be in the millions, of deploys of Nginx.
So, was there any details of what it is that they're doing or changing?
All I had was this mailing list note on here.
It does link to freenginx.org.
Yeah. But
which
it doesn't
isn't
say
running a security certificate.
What they were doing.
That's fun.
Oh, it's not, is it?
Well, let me see if I put HTTPS if it does.
That's crazy. Well, maybe
it does.
Okay, so it's not forcing SSL then.
It's not forwarding, yeah.
Yeah, because in NPM there's an option to force SSL, which I always click on. But yeah, that's big time. So I don't know what's going to happen. Is NPM going to switch to free Nginx? Or are they going to keep F5 version of Nginx? If they keep F5s, what does it mean by corporate intrusion? Like, what exactly would they be doing, especially with security policies?
Right.
They're probably because they've got paid subscribe, they do a payment, don't they, a pro? And I'm guessing they're rolling out the security measures to the pro users first or something.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Because you can
Nginx,
have paid
okay,
support.
they have Nginx Plus. Which
They've had that for a while, though. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it says a suite of products that form the core of Nginx. So I'm wondering what you get with Nginx Plus. I mean, starting at $3,600 per instance.
Maybe support of some kind.
It says achieve uncompromised performance and reliability with adaptable and dynamic load balancing and lightweight real-time Nginx API gateways. Implement Nginx App Protect, WAF, and DOS protection for apps and APIs with global policies and fine-grained controls for developers and API owners. That's just corporate mumbo jumbo, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm guessing they're rolling out the security measures to those guys first.
Like what Ubuntu Pro does or whatever. Interesting. So there's a new Nginx.
Well, you know what? Maybe this will be a net positive and people will actually embrace it instead of... I mean, if it's the main developer, I would think that, you know, people would follow his work. If he hasn't worked for them for a few years anyway, you know, and I mean, I run plenty of Nginx instances, so I'm now thinking, like, if this is a drop-in replacement, is it worth the effort to do, or will the hosting companies rebase on this, or
will it be? I wonder if it's in the repos yet, or if it will be.
I don't see a link to... Oh, I see download. Yeah, it's downloading from their site. So I don't see a link to, like, GitHub or something like that. Or source code.
One of these shows, you guys are going to have to do a deep dive on Nginx.
Boy, that would be difficult. I used to know a lot about Nginx, but since Honky switched me to NPM, I don't know all the ins and outs. Like, I used to write all the configs by hand and stuff, and I don't have to do that anymore with Proxy Manager. Honky turned me into a big baby. But we could go into NPM.
Okay.
Proxy Manager. I know more about that.
It's your deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Definitely
I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, you can build it from source. They have, if you kind of dig into the download or go to the documentation, you can see there. Interesting. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what the future holds, you know.
Yeah. What are you looking for a deep dive?
How to use it,
what it is, how it works,
why you need it,
how you configure it, set up.
I mean, I could probably just share my screen and show you what.
Well, not this show. It's late already.
Yeah, it is.
It is late. Are we going to get to the movie?
Oh,
Let's
we do.
talk
We need
about
to get to the movie.
This epic, super speedy, awesome, action-packed movie.
The net but crappy?
Now, did you add this to the list, Mortency? The Takeover?
I think he said he did. Yeah.
No?
I don't think
Nobody
I'm
wants
the
to
one
claim
that
it.
added it, but let me give the synopsis real quick.
Yeah, you do that.
The net
Okay,
crappy.
so here's what you do. You take the net, you mix it with speed.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have two Julia Roberts movie with a kind
Julia
of almost...
Roberts?
Not Julia Roberts.
Try that
Sandra
again.
Bullock.
Sandra, my bad. My
How
tongue
you? How
glitched
dare
right there.
you?
Sandra Bullock with a young Sandra Bullock almost look-alike, except maybe a little bit cuter. And then you
No.
take all the interesting parts of those two movies away, and then you take away its budget, and then you have this. Oh, and
Yeah.
don't forget, you took basically the imagery from Hackers, you dumbed it down, and you used that to try and explain how computers and hacking worked.
Oh, all those little lights and zipping around. Yeah.
Yeah. Did
So
you hear
dumb.
what she said? She said, "This is what it looks like in my head when I'm coding,
Yes.
when I'm reading code."
Oh.
Like that's so stupid. For people that are listening,
If they just left that out, it would have been even better. The movie would have been better, but they
Yeah.
had to just throw it in there.
for
Couldn't
people
help
listening,
themselves.
whenever this woman is coding or quote unquote hacking, there's this looks like an old '80s hologram images that are
Lights
like
flashing.
filling her head with like Tron like imagery and stars and
Tron
literally,
hallucination.
yeah.
it is the exact
Acid flash.
same plot as the net, but
Yes.
there's a runaway bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where did they get these ideas from, I wonder?
It's funny how you said it, because there was an IMDb reviewer that said almost the same thing, except they said locate the locate the net and speed in modern day Rotterdam and replace originals with worse acting and direction, and you end up with this movie, which was spot on.
Spot on.
I will
I'm glad
say,
I'm not the only one that saw that.
Right.
I guess we don't need to go into the plot too much because that's basically what it is.
That's the plot.
Yeah, that's the plot. But
Well, you don't get speed until the very last 5 minutes.
yeah,
Yes.
So it's mostly the net the whole time, and then it's speed.
Right.
in the beginning, I was kind of had my hopes up a little bit because of what they were doing on screen. I posted a screenshot in Matrix. It was all JavaScript was their hacking for some reason. I guess Dutch hackers are very partial to JavaScript because I took a screenshot and I looked at it, I said that's fucking JavaScript, and so I thought, well, at least they're using a real programming language. But then they started the holographic hallucinations, the Tron like hallucinations whenever she's actually hacking, and I threw my hands up and I was like, oh, why are you doing this?
And,
It's so stupid.
I could get past the whole visualizing hacking thing because, most people have no freaking clue and it makes it interesting for them. But the severe, blatant, horrible lack of chemistry between your main character and her
There was that
boyfriend by the
Love
end of it.
interest.
Love interest. And no, I understood that first scene where she just ghosted his ass, and that should have been the end of it for that character. But by the end of it, they end up together, and even still with all the excitement that went on, there was zero chemistry. Those two, no.
You know what?
Right.
I honestly wondered if it was a Dutch thing, and they don't want to show that type of romantic stuff in a Dutch movie because it's their sensibilities or something.
If you go to Amsterdam,
I was going to say
it's a lot more liberal as far as sexuality goes than here. At least.
And
that's true.
I know. Oh yeah, the ending. We'll get to that in just 1 second, though. But I know, Eric said that he had to watch this at 1.5. Now, I figured I was just going to watch it at 2x during, the slow parts to the build-up. I didn't realize that the entire movie was the slow part. I don't know how people...
I forgot that I was watching it on 1.5. That's how bad.
I don't know how people watch this at 1x. I don't.
The English dub was terrible. I mean, the acting was already bad. The English dub was just added more levels.
I watched it with
terrible.
subtitles. The copy I had
didn't
have an English dub. Yeah,
I couldn't do it anyway. And yeah, I watched it. I was at 1.5, and a lot of times something will come up, like you're saying, Joe, where I like have to lower the speed to like get through a part to understand what was happening. Nope, I could have easily watched it on 2 the whole time and not needed to slow it down because it was just so predictable.
I mean,
So
I was
predictable.
halfway through the movie and I looked to see that I was halfway through the movie, and it's like, I thought I was still in the opening sequence because not shit has happened.
Nope. Yeah, the whole, visualizing the mainframe and then using a Trojan horse to nullify the attack.
yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
like, dude,
That-
come on.
That's an image of a finger, middle finger on the screen. That's the big FU
And her-
to
And
So-
their hackers scene at the beginning. That was definitely a hackers scene at the beginning.
Oh, that hacker crew?
No.
so-
Before that.
Oh, where she got caught.
Oh,
where
when
she
was a
got
kid
caught.
still, yeah.
Right, and they just go up to her house. We're going to recruit you now that we found it. How did you do this?
Mhm.
Right. I'll tell you how I found you if you tell me how you did it. Like, and the hacker crew is just, here's the girl with the pink, lipstick,
Yeah.
and here's the guy with the long hair who's like, yelling at her. And it's just so silly. Everything's got RGB and like,
What did you think about the because this part I thought was interesting was the actual crime that was happening was the whole premise is that there's these self-driving buses in Rotterdam and
Stealing
did you want to say
faces.
something?
It wasn't just self-driving buses. It was all the cameras that
Well,
were
yeah, that's what I'm getting
basically
to.
Okay, go ahead.
So the crime that's happening is okay. So you get on this bus and it's explained as, well, your face is scanned. That way you don't have to pay anything. It already knows who you are, and your payment is automatic or whatever. So you get on. But the actual crime that's happening is your face is scanned, and somehow all of your medical information, your blood type, your social security, whatever, your banking information,
Your credit card.
your credit cards are all
Locked down
drawn
with
in
this.
from this face
Oh,
scan
and
and
to
sent to
where?
the Chinese government.
To
That's right.
China.
What was the name of the security company? Xiaoming.
Yeah, Xiaoming that played for the Rockets. That's big center they had. Xiaoming. So that was what was actually happening behind the scenes. Is why the Chinese government needs this. I'm not sure.
Need your
And like
pictures.
Was this movie paid
Identity
for by
theft.
the government to trick us into thinking that to trick people into thinking that this hasn't happened already?
I guess.
Yeah, right.
No, the whole point was identity theft
Yes.
So,
from
alright.
the Chinese government.
Mhm.
So this was the part that was just made no sense to me. So they did a deep fake of her to set her up. They show her shooting this homeless guy and
Former
who
hacker.
had been a hacker.
No, they said he was a former hacker.
But he
They found
wasn't.
out that he wasn't a former hacker. He was
was
just
just
some
a-
hobo.
Just some hobo
Okay.
dressed in a
Yeah.
suit.
So they do a deep fake of her shooting where they basically just covered over a guy's face.
Right.
So already the body is wrong, and like, so it was so good and so infallible that they couldn't figure out, they couldn't tell that it was a deep fake. So it was that, so they're trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? Her smoking gun, the evidence she needed was to find out whether the bus scanned her face, because they could have never done a deep fake of her from her like social media, like
Or anything else.
So
Yeah, the
somehow
bus
this
was the
bus
only
has a
camera in the whole
Right.
world that could have ever scanned her face and used it to make a
Right.
deep fake video.
Although
And
they
the guy-
Those are
used,
the videos that they
used like closed circuit cameras
everywhere.
around the whole city
Right.
Yeah.
to track
Yep.
her.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a special camera, and the guy that the person that was deep fake that was the model was a man with a hat on, to make it even harder for them to map a face onto the head. It was there. Some of the ideas
And-
actually had some merit. Like I kind of thought, oh, deep fake, setup, that was kind of interesting.
They found a rootkit.
Oh, did they?
Oh, they found a rootkit. That was the original premise. She found a rootkit.
That's what was
and she
funneling the
put
data.
on a Trojan to block the rootkit.
And it
Yeah,
shut down
Trojan
the entire
horse.
Wait.
corporation.
Did you say that you put Trojan to
Yeah.
Okay.
She
And
put
the
on a
premise was
Trojan.
She put on a Trojan. Okay.
she put on a Trojan.
I said it just like that because yes.
all of the companies that were tied to this Chinese company that was behind this
Right.
face theft thing supposedly then became locked out of all their systems by this Trojan horse, and they kept coming after her
To get
to
the
get
encryption
the
key.
encryption key, of course, because it all encrypted everything. I mean, they didn't even try to consult with someone on technology. Like
they
just
just threw word
no one who
salad
sees
out
this is
there.
going to care. Nah, who cares? You know.
So
And I'll
It
tell you
worked for
what,
the net. It'll work for us.
I
if
think
this was
Windows
a
IT
90s
people
movie-
think this is the way it works.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Could be.
Possibly.
It could be. But if this was an actual like late 90s, early 2000s movie, it would be acceptably camp because you know, technology was
Yeah,
still
No, I'm pretty sure that their tech guy was Johnny Lee Miller.
it's inexcusable in 2022. I'm sorry. It's too lazy. Like figure out, get a consultant, you know, it's not going to cost you that much money to have your, you know, cousin who's in IT sit and go, wait, no, don't say Trojan horse. Pick something else, you know. And then of course, go ahead.
So at the end, after she finally finds the fact that they have a cop of her face in the system, the big thing that she was looking to find, the person who she used, her mentor, who she's
buddy
that she sicked the
She snitched
government
on
what is the government agency,
whatever the agency is.
whatever.
Interpol.
Interpol. Thank you. 600 pull on him, and he was all mad about because he was funneling some of the money that they were supposed to be like Robin Hood style taking
back to the
Returning
victims.
back to the victims.
She was, instead of turning it back to the victims, he was pocketing it. So the end of the movie is, hey, I still have some. I didn't spend all that money that I stole. I'm giving it all to you. You can go out there into the world and you can go rob from the rich all by yourself. I got you all set up.
He created a network.
Sure.
He created a network so that she had a system to work from in order to be able to continue her work.
But what does that even mean? I made a network.
So presumably
I stole
somebody
all
What do you
this
mean I made
money.
a network?
You were mad
Yeah.
that I stole all this money. Now I'm giving it to you.
right, but presumably it meant that there was a warehouse
Now you have
somewhere.
the stolen money.
Did you like his? I gotta say, I actually liked his round setup in his workstation. I thought that was pretty cool to have, like, you know, computers and monitors all around you.
It was very hacker,
Yes.
like Hollywood hacker, like
Yeah.
That other movie we watched with Seth Green in it, like his
Oh
setup.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was that called? You remember?
Doesn't matter.
Dumpster fire.
No.
No more
Dumpster
free
Fire
advertising
2000.
for that thing. Yeah,
What was
so
it
I mean,
called?
it was
Dumpster Fire.
suitably bad, but suitably bad acting. I thought the tantrums were very, very funny. Like where she goes out in the field and like starts yelling and swearing because Buddy got shot, and like, yeah, just, and anytime they had to show any sort of like real acting, it was just a train wreck. None of them, absolutely none of them could act.
It was fucking horrible.
Was it that
But-
bad? Really?
That guy, the love interest, you know, the one with zero tech skills and that couldn't cook and but he could drive a truck in front of a bus and get rear-ended by the bus and then jump from the truck to the bus to hook up a piece of hardware.
And why was he doing that in the first place? Why wasn't the cops doing that, you know?
Because
Yeah,
the
right.
cops had no clue. They had no time to set up. And he was the only one with this piece of hardware because it was in Buddy's truck.
Oh,
Right.
that's right. It was in Buddy's truck. You're right.
And so he magically, because all they told him was it's in the front of the bus and you got to hook it into the top port. So he jumps in this bus and he automatically knows exactly where it is in the front of the bus to pop open this panel down on the floor and then hook this thing with the cable into the top, and then magically it's connected.
Well, did she tell him beforehand where to put it? Or I don't remember her
in the
doing
top
that.
She just said in the top port.
That
Okay.
was it.
Bus.
Because I remember him saying that. But
Yeah, it was really dumb and incongruent that he like jumped through the roof,
How
went
did he know
right to
that
the
there was
floor, pulled the panel. Yeah.
How did he know that there was roof access on the top of that bus? Had he seen
'Cause
that
they
bus
were-
before or something?
They had 10 minutes of film left in the camera. And they're like, we don't have time to explain it. Just do it.
Just ram your truck into this bus and jump on top.
it was strange. I'll give you that.
There was
just bad.
one a gaff listed on IMDb. I didn't notice it, but they said in the first scene when she goes into the server room to the mainframe, she plugged in an HDMI cable instead of a network cable.
Oh, I do remember
can see
that.
that.
Yeah. I was wondering what kind of cable that was. I thought it was a USB cable or something.
Yeah.
But can't you do network over HDMI now?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's my preferred method, actually.
HDMI to USB.
I thought I read something about. Or is that just you can do multiple monitor? I thought you could do data transmission with HDMI.
I'm sure you can, but it requires setup on both ends.
Anyway,
So
I-
let's hear your
Okay.
ratings, guys, for this awesome
rating
film.
or just thumb up or thumb down?
I have to give this neither a thumb up nor a thumb down because
I'm glad I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
it wasn't a good movie, but
Oh,
I'm not
Lovecraft, did
willing.
you watch it?
I'm not willing to call it a bad movie.
I did. Yeah,
We haven't heard your thoughts yet.
it was terrible. I got to give it a thumbs down. It just wasn't hitting it for me. It was
Okay.
yeah.
It was
was-
basically nothing. So I cannot give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Well, I
You're-
can't give it a thumbs down just because we've seen so many things that are so horrifically
So
worse
much
than
worse.
this. So much. The bar has already been set.
Am I-
It's not nearly as bad as
My
half the crap we've
attitude
seen
toward
already.
not watching the movie of the week
Yeah.
has been validated.
Yes.
Again, yet again.
Now, the only thing is, of course, I don't have a vehicle so that I can validate the parking that goes with it.
What?
I just want to say, if it was me that added it to the list, apologize.
No, you don't
Most
have
of the
to
ones I
apologize.
added, I did a search. I did
Well-
several times. I did a search for
You have
movies
no
with
idea.
the keywords Dan
Hey,
input.
I have added some horrible things to there. I think I
Hey.
got a couple of the stinkers on the list.
No,
At
there's
least-
no need to apologize.
At least this is one of the few movies that actually, fit in the criteria
Yes, it definitely was
of
a tech,
movie.
Yeah.
I want to
But I
say
take full credit for Psycho Gorman.
You can. So I give it. I'm gonna go with Joe. I'm gonna give it a half a thumb too. And you do too, Honky?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be back, guys.
All right. So that's
I'm
one and a
going down.
half.
I'll go down.
None, and none.
I found
So-
very, very little redeeming qualities.
okay, 1.5 stars then.
If you like
I
the
would have
city of
preferred to
Rotterdam,
sleep.
yeah. Again, if I had to watch it without the 1.5 speed,
You couldn't have made
I
it.
would have gotten bored.
Well, they can't all be Oscar winners, I guess.
Well, I have to say, I'm surprised. So there have been a couple stinkers since I joined you guys, but it's really been sort of a mixed bag, and it's been some things that I really liked. I thought there were some really stupid parts and bad decisions in Megan I wish they hadn't made. If they hadn't made her super strong, I think it would have made a lot more sense. Like if she was just relying on her cunning, I would have loved that movie. Honestly, until they got to where she started like choking people and like became the super horrible robot at the end, which just ruined it for me. I actually thought it was a pretty cool movie. I thought the last one we watched, the whatever girl,
Virtual
or whatever.
Fighter.
Takeover.
No, the one that they were trying to catch the pedophiles.
The Artifice Girl.
Artifice
Yeah,
girl.
Artifice
Yeah, I
Girl,
thought that
yeah.
was there. Was and I know it was a slow, boring movie that was essentially a stage play.
But it was the
turned into a
concept
movie.
was
But the
interesting.
concept was, and it was well acted, I thought.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's been so that's my point, is I think like it's easy for me to think like you guys are just intentionally picking shitty movies, but
No,
like,
we're not.
I don't necessarily think that's true.
No, it's not.
So
Not at
it
all.
just happens to be that the shitty ones are really shitty, not just kind of.
I think with the criteria that to add it, you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Implies
part of the
that
fun.
nobody has recommended it because it is shitty.
It also reminds me that there are so many movies made that unless someone recommends them, you will never ever find.
Yeah,
That's right.
So taking a chance on, and a lot of them are actually, even if they're not well acted, like I've seen a lot of terribly acted movies that I actually like. That it's not about the acting; it's more about the ideas conveyed, the locations. Like there are things that can be interesting about movies that don't necessarily revolve around the best script or the best acting, but there's just so much. You guys talk about what you watch, and there's just like I didn't recognize anything you guys said tonight about the TV shows, the series, like the book. Like there's so much stuff that I never see, and that's been a huge boon for me and meeting you guys, is that I've now seen a bunch of stuff I've actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
Some of it I haven't.
Kind of expand your horizons, Yeah. It's good to watch stuff out of your wheelhouse, I think, because you come across some hidden gems sometimes. That
it's almost like without having a personal recommendation, you would never know these things exist. And
right.
So there's so much stuff. It's like music. It's the same thing where there's so much that I know I would really enjoy if I just knew that it existed.
That's one of the reasons that I don't mind watching the horrible movies when we get them. It's because none of us know.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're supposed to find those diamonds in the rough, those hidden gems,
right.
If we don't slog through the garbage.
Well, and also
exactly right.
The truth is that the budget does not mean good. There are so many big budget movies that I've seen that I hate, like the Transformer movies, any of the Michael Bay stuff, like, and they spend hundreds of millions of dollars making that stuff. Well, Universe lost me about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I can't stand them.
So
I love practical effects. I love real stuntmen and action, and and that's, I mean, I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but that's just me, and that's why I'm kind of stuck in
that's why you love The
90s,
Last
80s.
Starfighter so much.
Well, that wasn't even practical effects. That was early CGI that looked like dog
the first
shit.
CGI.
Yeah, it was. When people saw that movie, they should have said, CGI is definitely not the way to go from now on when we're making movies. Let's just stick with practical from now on, because it looks like absolute dog shit. So now we will make all practical effects.
That is one of the greatest movies ever.
Okay.
Don't besmirch it.
I won't. I'm sorry, Your Majesty.
Practical effects tend to hold up over time. Like if you go back and watch a movie with really well done practical effects.
Look at The Thing. It's awesome.
Oh, yep.
It's all practical, stuff like that. All right, you ready for the new movie? Getting late.
Yep.
Let's see if I can get a drum hole here. Uh-oh. I messed up on the... I'm having internet connection problems with this. Okay, so this one, there should be a caveat, because this is a sequel, and we haven't seen the original yet. This is called Nemesis 4 from 1996, but there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the list. So I file a motion to watch 1 instead of part 4. Is that okay?
Yeah.
What year was the original?
Original is 1992.
This promises to, be a high quality movie.
Well, if the first one was so bad, you can't imagine they would make 4. So you have to figure the first one has some.
I don't
merit.
know. They made a lot of
You would be
Tremors movies.
surprised.
It's a
Highlander.
1990.
Leprechaun.
Nemesis is- it's a 1992 American cyberpunk action film. And I don't recognize any of the people that are in it. So a lot of Japanese.
Yeah, this. I don't
Oh,
know.
the imagery on it looks pretty cool.
I love cyberpunk, so hey, awesome.
No, like the image on the front of the probably what was a VHS at the time. The cover
Yeah.
art.
Oh, I see what
Thomas
you're saying.
Thomas
friggin'
Jane is in it.
awesome.
Ah,
Oh,
Thomas Jane.
Brian James too. He was in that other movie too that we watched.
which
In
one?
the year 2027, illegal androids have become commonplace, and many criminals enhance themselves with cybernetic components, making them more than human. Alex Rain is a delusional assassin bounty hunter for the LAPD. During a routine mission, he is attacked by a militant group known as the Red Army Hammerheads. Nearly killed by the surviving leader, Rosaria, Alex resists her assertion that he is a mindless robot.
Huh.
86.5% of him is still human. So anyway, it's a really long plot.
Okay, this one has to go on the list.
Which one?
Warrior versus Cyborg.
Oh boy, is that?
So
How
that's
did you
Joe's
find
fault
that?
when these movies get on
Oh,
there.
I
Is that
scrolled
what
down
you're
on the
saying?
IMDb page.
Well, it's got to be good then, right? Oh, it's on Tubi.
Nemesis is on Tubi?
Yep,
That seems right.
and it's reasonably rated, 5.4 out of 10. So we've watched much worse.
It's the one from 1992, right?
Yep.
You want to put it in IMDb? All right.
Yeah, the Takeover that I thought was on Tubi was a vampire movie.
Oh,
It was a
Was that any
different
good?
Takeover. I didn't watch it. I just because I was getting ready to watch it, I turned on Tubi, searched for the Takeover. I said, "No, this can't be right. Vampires has nothing to do with acting." Then
Yeah,
I
I
realized
just-
it's a completely different movie.
Turned on Netflix and watched it.
Now, Nemesis
watching
actually has a Wikipedia page too, unlike some of the movies we've watched.
That's where I was reading it from. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm watching the trailer on IMDb, and they cut to a shot of two that look like basically the agents from Matrix. So that's interesting.
Hmm.
Literally dressed exactly with the sunglasses and everything. So it was very Matrix-esque, which
Oh my God.
was 7 years earlier.
There's a Nemesis 5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. It's on Tubi.
Should we add that to the list?
Are
behind
they
the other
are they
four?
all on Tubi?
No, I see 1, 2, 3, and 5. I do
Okay.
not.
Good God, there's a lot of
see-
shooting in this movie.
I do not see 4. And then
It's
I
got-
see some other movies named Nemesis also on here.
It's got to be quicker moving than the Takeover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine. It's only an hour and a half long.
Well, so was the Takeover, right?
Yeah, well, this movie is already shown in the ad. The 5-minute ad has just been nonstop shooting. So
That's what I'm saying. It's
Nice.
constant.
Actual action.
The
lots of
Takeover
action.
wasn't a 6-hour movie.
No.
It felt
It
like
just
it,
felt
even
like
at
it.
2x.
Up stop motion robots.
yes,
All
So
right.
you're missing 4 from Tubi, from what I can see.
Oh, that's
Oh
too
my
bad.
gosh. I'm
gonna have a
actually
gap.
excited to watch this now.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah. Martial arts, lots of shooting, jumping out of windows.
Look, Don the Dragon Wilson was supposed to be a martial artist, but half his movies, he's just shooting things.
Well, that's true.
we were all disappointed with John Dragon Wilson. All right.
Yes. Our
I'll tell you
favorite
what,
son.
for the number of times you've said his name since I started participating, It should be like
That's
a
because-
drinking game.
That's because his movies keep coming up. Who keeps adding his movies to the friggin' list?
Danny?
I think it's me. I'm sorry.
That was Danny.
I'm sorry.
We
Well,
had, like,
anything
no,
that has
he is
cyber in the
he-
title or cyborg or virtual, it's
Look,
all has
I
Don the
think-
Dragon Wilson in it.
I think if you listed all of the stars in all of the movies, that man's name would appear more than any other
in the movies we've
from our
watched,
list.
Yeah.
Our list.
I believe
Probably.
you're right.
And I
You're
love-
probably right.
That you include the dragon every time.
That's right.
Every time.
Every time.
Every-
He's
Not
not
Don
Don
Wilson.
Wilson. He's Don the Dragon.
Yeah, nobody knows who Don Wilson is.
Don
sounds
Wilson
like a
is that
Beach
guy
Boy.
that lives down the street.
Yeah.
You know,
This
stares
is Don
at
the
children
Dragon
or
Wilson.
something.
You guys crack me up.
All right, it's getting late.
All right.
Yes,
Do we
it
want to
is.
kill it?
I'm good with that, unless you guys got
Yeah.
anything else.
Actually, Netminer, have you been working on your pies at all?
No, I haven't been doing much with the pies. However, I probably will start maybe in a few minutes. Now that I know how to install my Etherpad.
How are you going to do it? Are you going to do it bare bones or are you going to do Dockerfile?
I think I'll do it bare bones. Yeah, I just need something that I can put links into and get them from machine to machine easily.
That'll do it.
I also need to think about reorganizing some of my DNS, so I need to log into my router and get rid of some machines that will never be hooked up again.
Why did you have a static DNS set up for those machines?
Pseudo static. I have DHCP reservations.
Okay.
Since everything is looking for DHCP, I find just setting up a reservation works as good as a static address and
Right.
like that.
Yeah, going for a straight static would seem like it would be a giant pain in the ass because you'd have to, the second you get it plugged in, make sure it gets assigned an IP, as opposed to just having it DHCP and then having it a reserved DHCP.
I really agree with that. That's how I have all mine set up.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes I'll go in and assign it also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But when you, especially with a Pi or an embedded device where maybe you're swapping out SD cards or trying new operating systems, you don't have to worry about setting that up every time.
Mine's all done
And
to
I
the
remember,
router.
yeah. And I remember when Raspberry Debian switched to System D, there's a different way you configure the static IP address, and there was no documentation online. There were tons of people having the problem where their IP address wouldn't stay, and it took me months to figure out that, oh, I have to figure out System D now. But I maybe 9 months, almost a year of having Pi problems at home, not being able to get stuff to work.
Ooh. Like the only time I've ever changed something's static IP address was because I had like npm set up to an IP address, so I figured I would go in and then just change it automatically to that, whatever the DHCP had given it, just to kind of it's either I had to change one or I had to change the other. So change which the static IP address is, or change the settings in npm. All right. Does anybody have anything else?
Yeah, one more thing, which relates to the show itself. Audacity You don't use Audacity for the show, though, right? Or you
Me?
do? Yeah.
No, I
No.
use Socks. It's a Socks script.
Audacity now has an AI transcription tool, so you can run. If we ever wanted to run the podcast through to create a transcript for, I don't know, maybe a deaf person that was interested in see what was going on. Though I don't know how many deaf people are interested in podcasts, but if they were, Audacity now has an AI transcription tool so that you can get the transcript for the podcast.
The
That's
other
all I wanted to
advantage
say.
is it makes the audio searchable. So if you're posting the
good point.
transcript somewhere and someone's searching for something we've covered, makes it more accessible that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Lovecraft, do you remember that tool that what's his name from HPR used on the New Year's show?
The one to make the transcript?
Voice
Yeah,
to text.
I do not. I
Did
can't
it work
remember.
pretty good?
I don't know. I didn't download it. Ken Fallon, HPR New Year's show. Oh,
It was like a real simple name, like
Setting recordings and transcripts. Yep, I forgot what the hell the program was called.
Was it Whisper?
Yeah, I think it was.
yes,
Okay.
that
Yes.
Whisper. That was
That's
it.
what Audacity's using too.
Oh, there you go.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else?
Nothing for me. Is that too loud?
No. Our next recording date will be March 1st, 2024. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam. And we'd like to thank Minnix for the use of the Mumble server. I've been your host for this evening. Honky Magoo with us tonight has been Eric.
Have a great couple weeks.
Fatboy.
Good night, everyone.
Joe.
Good night.
Lovecraft.
Good night, everyone.
Minnix.
Good night. Joe, let me know this week if you
Yeah.
I can meet you for the power supply or
You
whatever.
still got my phone number?
I do got your phone number. I
Ping
need to
me.
call you. I will. I love you all.
Wardency.
Good night, everyone.
And Net Miner.
Good night, everyone. Hope you have a good week or couple of weeks. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you all next time.
Good night, boys.